Philadelphia perspective, or this story of Philadelphia, what does that add to historical discussions about World War II?
By looking at any local history, there's value because you get a case study of the varieties of experience. You can also see you can knit them together to see the patterns that existed in the United States in terms of the home front, and not just mobilization, but how people responded to war not just by going to war, but even those who were coming back from war, etc. So all these case studies are important because they remind us of the great diversity and variety of America, and then you lay them out and you can begin to see this kind of a template as well of some common American experience. But some stories do count more than other stories, and I would argue that Philadelphia's story counts very much, again, because of its peculiarity.
Who were the German Bund?
They were called the German-American Bund, and they were headed by a man named Fritz Kuhn. They were out-and-out Nazi supporters. And I also remember that there was a parallel organization called the Black Shirts, which was an Italian-American organization that supported Mussolini. And they were very active. They paraded around with Nazi insignia on. They've had meetings in Madison Square Garden.
You talk about factories, and you kind of have this image in your mind of the everyday grind of that kind of lifestyle. What was the typical conditions in factories and the shipyards of Philadelphia during that time?
One of the things about Philadelphia, in fact, to this day, if you take the Frankfurt L going up to the northeast, you can look out and see hundreds of small factories and mills. It's not like the huge industrial complexes you have in Detroit, which are massive, the kind of places you have like in Bethlehem, these industrial sites that look like cathedrals. What you have in Philadelphia is a lot of small-scale, family-owned industries. Most Philadelphia industries employed less than 100 persons. So just the scale is different in terms of what you get compared to other large industrial centers. And this is a trademark of Philadelphia going back to the early part of the 20th century. By 1910, Philadelphia was known as the workshop of the world. And really we see this into World War II. It was producing, like I said, just the wide range, the widest range of stuff for the military effort.
How did the story of the strike end? What happened to the strike leaders? How did it really ultimately end?
Well, the strike ends in a kind of a petering out way if one was looking for grand drama after the strike has ended and the soldiers go. They go after several days and what have you. They were here about a week and a half, actually, after the end of the strike. And they left quietly, as it were. As I said, there were no great disturbances. There were a few disturbances during and after the strike. There were some incidents, again, they didn't blow up, which is significant. I think rather the most important incident that occurred was a symbolic incident when about a middle-aged black man, name I don't know, took a piece of quartz, a rock-sized piece of quartz, and went up to the Liberty Bell and threw it at the Liberty Bell and simply mocked the Liberty Bell in this idea of liberty, because he knew, as others did, that despite all the professions of freedom, etc., fighting for the four freedoms in World War II, etc., that freedom really was limited. Freedom was really contingent. Freedom really was something that you had to struggle for, and that when the war was over, a lot of these external factors, a war, a federal government, etc., with agencies and instruments, mechanisms you could use to fight it, they're all going to go away. You're going to be left to yourself.